Thank you everyone for coming out to Williams County Habitat for Humanity informational meeting. It is my pleasure to introduce Lisa Whitaker. She is the chairwoman of Family Selection, and she's going to be giving us some information tonight. If anyone after the meeting is interested in volunteering with Habitat, that's when you get to come see me and my co-chairwoman Chrissy. We are public relations, volunteer, anything like that, and we can get you hooked up on any volunteering. But, like I said, it's my pleasure to present Lisa Whitaker.
All right, thank you guys, and thanks for coming tonight. I want to go ahead and thank those of you that came tonight. I know you had to arrange your schedule so that you can make it out, and so I really appreciate you coming. And I also appreciate the library for making room for us to come out here tonight. So we'll go ahead and get started with what is Habitat for Humanity. Habitat for Humanity is a Christian housing ministry, and we like to show God's love through action, which means we are non-proselytizing. And what I mean by non-proselytizing is that we're not going to ask you to be baptized. We're not going to ask you or make you come to church with us. We're just interested in showing God's love through this ministry. We provide simple, decent, affordable housing, and we're international. So we're located in Canada, we're located in Asia, in the Caribbean, we're located in Europe and the Middle East, just all over the place. And we're also non-governmental. We're not an arm of the government. We're not affiliated with the government. And we also are nonprofit. So in Williams County Habitat in particular, we only have one paid employee. So all the volunteers that we have are coming here out of the I guess the influence of their heart, right? To come and do what we can for the people of Williams County. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions about Habitat, and so I want to kind of clear up what Habitat for Humanity is not. We are not a source for free houses. All Habitat for Humanity partner families, those are the people that live in our homes, all of them pay a monthly mortgage. All of them pay for their houses so that they can own it. We are not a source only for Christians. In fact, we're a legal lender, so that we are an equal housing opportunity. We cannot discriminate against anybody from any religion or no religion. We can't discriminate based on race or color or sex or handicap, familial status or national origin. And we're not a source only for people on governmental financial assistance. We do have some families that receive financial assistance. We have some families that don't. Mostly it's just a group of hardworking families that want to get ahead, and that's what we're here for. So then a little bit about the Williams County Habitat for Humanity in particular. We've been in operation since 1991. We have 32 houses that we've built so far in Bryan and Edgerton and Eden, Montpelier, Pioneer, Stryker, and West Unity. And we build with the continued support of hundreds of donors and volunteers, individuals, businesses throughout Williams County. And we are predominantly a new home program. Now there are habitats in Ohio and throughout the nation that do renovations to existing homes for deserving families that already own their homes. And there are habitats out there that have thrift stores, they're called restores, that sell items for your home. But here in Williams County, our Habitat for Humanity affiliate is small. And we don't really have the budget to go out and do renovations and to have a thrift store and that kind of thing. Right now, the best bang for our buck is to do new builds. And so we're primarily a new build, new home program here in Williams County. So if you were to become involved with Habitat for Humanity of Williams County, we would call you a partner family. And that doesn't mean that there has to be more than one of you. It could just be you by yourself, or it could be you and your 10 kids, okay? We call you a partner family. And what that would involve is each applicant, each partner family applicant will dedicate 250 hours of sweat equity, primarily to the building of their own home. Now, there's not any kind of home building knowledge, any special knowledge that you have to bring with you. We have all kinds of volunteers that are ready and willing to help you learn, to know what to do, and to guide you along the way. And anything that would require a licensed professional will be hired out. So I'm not gonna give you a call and say, hey, today's the day you wire your own house. All right, that's not gonna happen. I'm not doing that. But each applicant will commit 250 hours of sweat equity into the building of their home. And a neat thing about that is that we will encourage you to find family and friends to do 100 of those hours for you. And I know some of you that are more stubborn are kind of cringing and say, you know, no, I do it myself. But bringing it, you're like shaking your head, yeah. Bringing in people to help you with 100 of those hours helps you build that support system and helps you build your community that's going to help you with your home ownership progress. And so it's really a great way to kind of build support for yourself. And plus it's fun. Applicants will complete a financial literacy course. We have several different ones to choose from. One that I particularly like is through, if you don't mind me running over here real quick, it's through the Community Action Council. And it has an individual development account associated with it. And what that is that they'll have classes for you and then on financial literacy, and then you'll create an account with them. And for every $1 you put into the account, the individual development account will match your savings by $2. So say you save $1,000, there'll be $3,000 total in your account because you went through this program. It's an awesome course, and I would encourage you to pick up a paper after we're done talking here. But there's several different financial literacy courses. If you know of one that you're interested in, go ahead and bring it to us, and you know, we'll see if it matches our criteria, and we might approve it. I know there for a while there were some churches that did Dave Ramsey financial literacy courses, and invited different people from the community to come participate. That's a great one. And so if that one came through, I'm pretty sure that we'd be okay with it. Applicants will participate in habitat events and community service. So something like this, you know, or the business and industry show. Or sometimes we'll have other things with the United Way or what have you within the community where you can kind of give back to the different areas and the cities and different organizations within our community. And it's just a good opportunity to learn more about your community and also to get into the spirit of volunteerism. So, okay, you're a Habitat for Humanity partner family. You put in your 250 hours. What kind of house are you going to end up with? This is an example home. The homes that we do are decent, simple, and affordable, but the size of the home is based on the size of your household. So a household, say, for just 2 people, that home is going to be completely different than the household for 10 people, okay? But this is an example of a home, and it's actually the floor plan of what's being built in Pioneer right now. We have our living room and a nice small dining room, a full kitchen, a backyard coming off the back door coming off the kitchen. It's This particular one has a bath and a half. It has 3 bedrooms with the sliding door closets, right? So just remember, this plan is for illustrative purposes only, but it kind of gives you an idea of what it is that we build. One thing to keep in mind is when we say simple and decent, we don't build garages, okay? Garages kind of exceed our standard of simple and decent, which is not to say once you sign the paperwork for the house, you can go ahead and build your own garage. We've had families do that, go build their own garage. But when we do it, it won't have a garage. When we build the house, it won't have AC. It'll have everything ready to go for you to go ahead and put AC in yourself. But when we build it, it won't have AC. It'll just have the heating system. So simple and decent, but really nice. Here's our 2017 build. We will ask you to choose certain things like to choose the color of your siding. We'll provide you a selection of different siding colors and ask you to choose the color. We'll provide you different selection of carpet samples and ask you to choose the carpet. And then also the pattern of the kitchen and bathroom flooring. Different things like that. We'll give you all kinds of samples of paint chips and ask you to choose a paint color for your house. And so you get to make it your own. And I think that's really nice. Now, I'd like to kind of get into the magic and beauty of the Habitat program, but in order to do that, I need to really cover a typical non-Habitat mortgage for you to really understand just how fabulous, we're talking here. Say you and your household went out and you found just a great house for you, okay? Here it is, right? You found a great house for you. It's $85,000. And that's not to say that when you come with Habitat that your house is going to be 85. There's lots of things that affect prices. There's the market at the time. I can't predict what the market is going to be whenever the next house is going to be built. I can't predict. I don't know you guys. I don't know the size of your household, so I don't know. But let's just say for the explanation here that the house you find is $85,000. You go to a bank. Typically in a bank, you're going to need to put down a 20% down payment. Now there are some banks, if your credit rating is good enough and if you meet all these different check marks, you could say put down 15% or 10% or 0%. There are loans out there that exist that way, but 20% is pretty normal for any kind of typical home mortgage loan. And so 20% of $85,000 is $17,000. So you're thinking, okay, right up front, I'm going to put down $17,000 on this home. You get a bank loan for the balance for $68,000. So $85,000 minus the $17,000 is a $68,000 bank loan at a 5% interest. For the past 10 years, interest rates have been between 4 to 6%, so I just picked 5 because it was in the middle. Who knows what you're going to get when you go into the bank yourself, but it's a good guess, right? It's a good guess. And so you're going to pay approximately $2,500 in closing costs. Now, closing costs usually run between 2 to 5% of the value of your home, and that covers the title fee, the recording it down at the courthouse, all these kind of things that just kind of get tacked on that the bank has to take care of, and of course it gets passed on to you, right? So you're going to pay your closing costs, then after 20 years of paying, and I'm doing this example with a 20-year mortgage. Our Habitat in Williams County has 20-year mortgages, so I'm using a 20-year mortgage here. After 20 years of paying 5% interest, you pay $107,704.78 for your $85,000 home. And that's pretty normal. That's kind of what most of the people that have own their own home, that's how they're doing it. They're paying interest on it, and they're going to end up paying more for the house than what it's actually worth, but that's how it's done. That's how the bank, can loan you that kind of money over that amount of time. Okay, so again, this number is for illustrative purposes only. The home prices vary with market conditions and size of the home. Please don't come to me and say, you said I was going to get an $85,000 house. I'm not saying that. I'm just using this as an example. What Habitat for Humanity does is we'll take this $85,000 fair market value of your home, and we're going to split it up into 2 mortgages, okay? The first mortgage is for the cost of the build, right around, let's say, in this case, $70,000. And then the second mortgage is going to be based on the appraised fair market value minus the cost for the building, or $15,000. So you see what we did there? We have 70 plus the 15 equals $85,000. While you live in the home, you will only pay for the first mortgage. Your interest rate will be 0%. That's part of the magic right there, is that if I wanted to go out and buy a new home, I'm not going to hold my breath that I'm going to get a 0% interest rate. Pretty sure it's not going to happen. So after 20 years of paying 0 interest, you will pay $70,000 for your $85,000 home. So the savings, and that's where the interest rate really plays in, the savings on interest and a loan between the typical mortgage and the Habitat mortgage will be $37,700, okay? So that's pretty significant. $37,000 for me is pretty significant over the 20-year mortgage. The second mortgage is forgiven after 20 years. It's gone. You lived in the home for 20 years, that second mortgage is gone. The $15,000 is wiped clean. Now, you're like, okay, well, Lisa, why even assign a second mortgage if you're just going to forgive it anyway? Okay, and the reason for this rule, and really the reason for half of all the rules out there in life, is because somebody sketchy tried to pull a fast one, okay? At one point, there was somebody that came to the Habitat program and got an $85,000 home for a $70,000 mortgage, lived in it for a couple months, and then sold it. And then pocketed that $15,000 on the backs of all the volunteers who put in so much time, so much energy, the donors who put in so much money and effort into making a better life for this person, and they pocketed that cash. So the second mortgage is there to protect the affiliate, protect Habitat, and also to protect our volunteers and our donors. All right, so there are eligibility requirements. You have to have a need for the home. You have to be willing to partner with Habitat for Humanity, and you have to have an ability to pay. So need. Need would be your current housing is overcrowded, or your current housing is dangerous or it's inadequate. Inadequate housing would be, say, you have a household member that's in a wheelchair and you have itty bitty hallways and no ramp. Okay, that's inadequate. Another example of an inadequate housing would be you are living with a friend or a relative or in a hotel, some sort of temporary situation. That's inadequate housing. Another example of a need would be your current housing is a cost burden, which means that your monthly rent is greater than 30% of your income. Now, the way you figure that out is you divide your rent by your gross monthly income. So if you say, let's say you get a paycheck, a pay stub, and your gross income will be the amount before FICA and the state of Ohio go and gnaw away at what you're making, right? You're the big number, not the small number. And if you get paid twice a month, then it's a total of 2 checks. If you get paid every week, it's a total of 4 checks would be your gross monthly income. So let's say we're talking about me. Let's say my rent is $650, and let's say my household gross monthly income is $2,000. If we divide $650 by $2,000, we get 0.325 or 32.5%. If you get any answer that's larger than 0.3%, then it means your rent is a cost burden. It's more than 30% of your income, okay? So you have to fulfill one of these criteria, not all 3, but if you do, if you do fulfill all 3, get an application. But you have to fulfill one of those 3 criteria. You also have to be willing to partner with Habitat for Humanity. You're willing to dedicate the 250 hours of sweat equity. Now, if, say, you have 2 applicants, 2 adults that are applying for this house in your home, then that's 250 for each one of you for a total of 500 hours. So 250 hours of sweat equity per adult applicant towards the building of your home, plus some community service and Habitat events. You have to have lived within Williams County for the past 12 consecutive months. So meaning if you apply August of 2018, you would have to have lived here in Williams County every month from August 2017 till now, okay? And you're looking at you like, yeah, well, duh. But, but you know, there's some people that will be like, well, yeah, I've lived in Williams County all my life, except February when I lived in Indiana. Okay, no. Okay, no. Each of the 12 months preceding when you've applied, you have to have lived in Williams County. You have to be willing to submit to a criminal background check, a sex offender check, and an Office of Foreign Asset Controls check. An Office of Foreign Asset Controls check, that's going to check to see if you're a terrorist. So if you're not sending money to Al-Qaeda, you know, regularly or at all, then you're fine, okay? If you do have a criminal background check, or if you are on the sex offender registry, don't freak out. It's not an automatic disqualification. It just means that we need to check over the record to make sure that the Habitat interests are protected and that our volunteers are protected, okay? So moving along, you have to have an ability to pay. Applicants must have a source of income between 30 to 60% of the Federal Housing and Urban Development median income guidelines for that year. So this is the 2018 scale right here. So HUD will, and I'm assuming that most of us have heard about HUD before. HUD sets income limits that determine eligibility for assisted housing programs. And they create a median family income guideline based on statistics for this area. And so this chart shows the 30 to 60% median income range for Williams County. Let's say you have a household of 4 people, 2 parents and 2 kids, or 1 parent and 3 kids, or 4 adults, whatever it is. Your household income needs to be between $18,420 to $36,840. Now, let's say you're falling in lower than this 30%, and you're like, oh, come on. Okay, look, we want anybody that goes into a home to be successful. And if you're not reaching the 30% of the HUD medium family income guidelines, it's going to be so hard for you to meet those monthly payments. And we don't want that for you. So we're going to say, you know what, come back to us whenever things get better. If you're making more than the 60%, and you're like, come on, what we're going to say, look, have you talked to a bank? You know, you might have some things that are a little iffy in your finances, but take a year or two and get it cleaned up. You could get a bank loan, all right? But Habitat we try to focus on that group in the middle that just kind of fall through the cracks, and that's who we're trying to catch and to help them up and to get them into a home ownership. Also, an ability to pay is you have to have proof of a stable legal income. So a job, that's good. SSI, disability, all good. We can use alimony and we can use child support income in your calculations if it is likely you're going to keep on receiving the income for the next 3 years. So if you have a 17-year-old kid, no, okay, that your child support is probably going to be running out pretty soon. An 18-year-old kid, child support is probably going to be running out pretty soon. I will go ahead and caution you, though, just a little bit of common sense financial advice. While you can use your alimony and your child support income as part of your income to make you eligible for this program, or for anything, let's say a phone plan or getting a car or something like that, consider to yourself, will I still be able to make the payments if that child support suddenly stops? And what's it going to do to my credit rating if I suddenly can't make my payments? All right, so I'm not saying don't apply, and I'm not saying don't get a phone or a house or anything, but just, let's consider that and make that part of your decision-making process whenever you decide to take on a contractual financial obligation. Okay. Also included in ability to pay is your debt-to-income ratio. We're going to want your debt-to-income ratio to be at or below 40%. Now, banks do it a little bit different, but this is the way Habitat does it. So let's go say you're going to add up all of your reoccurring monthly obligations, okay? All the things that you have to pay every month. Your housing, your child support, your utilities, car payment, credit card minimum, student loan, phone plan. You might have other things, I have no idea. Whenever you do this, though, if you're doing it to figure out if Habitat's right for you, I want you to erase whatever your housing payment is and put $450. And Roz brought this up a little bit earlier. The reason why is because historically, again, I'm not saying your payment is going to be $450, okay? We're not taking what Lisa's saying as gospel right now, but historically, the average has been $450 for a house payment for a Habitat home. And that's been, the last several years that it's coming in. Now, of course, you understand, though, that we're talking about average. That means somebody out there is paying $550 and somebody out there is paying $350, but it averages out to $450. So whenever you do this, and when we look at your DTI, your debt-to-income ratio ourselves, we're going to put $450 in there for you also. So whenever you do this at home and try to figure it out, put $450 as your housing costs. Okay, so you're going to take your total monthly payments and your monthly gross income, again, the big number before FICA takes a chunk out of it. You're going to divide your total monthly payments by your monthly gross income. Let's say this is me, okay? Let's say these are my monthly payments, and they end up being $1,270. And let's say my household is bringing in $3,300 a month. If I divide the $1,270 by $3,300 a month, we're going to get 0.38 or 38%. Any number that you get that is below 0.4 means that your debt-to-income ratio is under 40%, which means your Habitat material. And it also means you're doing pretty good, all right? Now, let's say then, though, you come to me and you're like, Lisa, I have 0.47, I'm nearly there. And I'm going to say, super awesome, cut your data plan, okay? Think about cutting the cable or the satellite dish, all right? Pay off your credit card and then come back to us when you get your debt to income. You're nearly there, 0.47, way to go. Get below 0.4 and come back to us. Because if you're willing to do this work to get yourself into a financial situation where you're ready for a house, we are so excited to work with you, all right? But again, ability to pay, a debt to income ratio at or below 40%. All right, so over here, I do have a stack of applications. And I also have a sign-up sheet, if you don't mind, just to put your name and some contact information so we know who's picking up applications. And if you do pick up more than one application, if you're here for a friend or a couple of friends, if you don't mind just putting in parentheses how many you took, that'd be great too. What makes for a great application? All required items are turned in at the same time. You'll see here on the front of this application, there's a list of 12 different items we're going to ask you for right up front. If you can have all 12 in your hand when you turn them in, that'd be great. Even better, bonus points, you have them all in the same order that they're listed here on the paper. Clear handwriting. My handwriting is terrible. Yeah. My handwriting is terrible. You can get somebody else as a scribe, okay? You can get somebody to go in and type it up for you. That's fine. Make sure your 4s and your 9s do not look the same. It'll change the whole story of your application, right? Clear handwriting is going to be key. Also, here we're going to ask for a cover letter. This is a great time to explain any troubles that you've had in the past and what you're doing to get past them. So you got sick in the past, okay, and things just kind of, man, tanked. Tell us about it. Tell us what you've done since then to get things straightened out. You got a divorce. That's a financial nightmare. Okay, tell us about it and list out the stuff that you've done to get things straightened out. We want to know. This is the time for you to tell us how amazing you are. We want to know these things. And then explain how a Habitat home can assist your family in moving forward. What's this going to mean to you? These are things that we want to know, and this is a great opportunity to give us your full story, the story that the numbers aren't going to show, okay? Give us your full story. All right, before we go over this very last slide, I want to see this. Here we have Roz. We have Kathy. We have Stacy and Tammy, and they're all part of the Family Selection and Family Nurturing Committee. So, and myself. So, if you do have any questions afterwards, please come up to us and let us know. You know what kind of things you're wanting to find out more about. But I'm going to have to ask you to please do not give us any kind of financial information regarding yourself here in the library. This is not the appropriate location, and legally we really can't talk to you about it here anyway. Okay, if you do have more detailed financial stuff that you want to go into, then call the office and make an appointment, and we can spend all kinds of time going over your particular details. But so just real quick, the benefits of home ownership. Homes typically increase in value over time. Costs are more stable than renting a house or an apartment. Property tax can be deducted from your income tax obligation. Owning a home offers creative control. Okay, go ahead and paint those glitter walls. All right, knock yourself out. All right, you can't do that. Oh, you can use nails in the wall. You can't do that in apartments, right? No more command strips. Put a nail in the wall. They're fabulous. All right, Ownership is often less expensive than renting, and ownership offers a stability in lifestyle. Again, we have our applications over here. We have the NOCAC brochures going over their IDA program and their financial classes. And also we have another pamphlet or a flyer from Habitat that will go again over all the different ways to calculate your debt to income ratio, whether or not your house is a cost burden, and any other information as far as eligibility. So that's
Lisa, where
Yes.
can people go that aren't here tonight to get the information?
Well, thank you for asking. You can call Habitat for Humanity at 419-636-9093. You can go to our Facebook page, and then I can't rattle off the, I'll rattle it off as I read it. Watch this. Williams County Habitat at gmail.com. That's our email. You can go ahead and shoot us an email and ask for more information. Right, yes.
Just a couple of things. When we spoke about what a mortgage payment typically, we want you to know that that payment will include your taxes and insurance.
Mm-hmm.
So when time comes due twice a year, you've already got the money in your account for that. And your insurance. You don't have to pay insurance every month. It's part of that.
Ross, yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And we didn't go over escrow accounts. Escrow is your insurance and taxes kind of all rolled up into one, and you'll pay it to Habitat, and Habitat will pay the property taxes for you and pay your insurance company for you. But we didn't kind of go into that because that's also the same for banks too. It's that part of it's not going to change. And in fact, when you pay off the house, you still got to pay taxes and you still got to pay insurance. So those things aren't going to change in these different scenarios. However, it is that you end up owning a house. I will tell you though that your insurance can change based on your credit rating. It tends to be, it seems that the higher your credit rating is, the lower your insurance payment is. And we have no control over that. That's a letter to send your insurance agent. we have no say in that. But yeah, the $450 possible house payment that could happen, the average, it does include the taxes and the insurance.